Stop scrolling right now if you still think your kindness protects you. Because every time you said yes when you meant no, every favor you gave expecting nothing back, every boundary you didn't set, you weren't being good. You were training people to disrespect you. If you're exhausted from giving more than you get, tired of watching selfish people win while you stay stuck being nice, then subscribe and hit notifications. This channel isn't about motivational lies or toxic positivity. It's about seeing human nature clearly and using that clarity to protect yourself. There are two worlds most people live between. World 1, the fairy tale they sold you in school. Work hard, be kind, help others, and life rewards you. Goodness equals safety. Generosity builds loyalty. Honesty earns respect. World 2, the real world, where your consistent kindness makes you forgettable, where your availability makes you invisible, where the person who cares least holds all the cards. You've been living in World 1 wondering why nothing works. This video drags you into World 2. We're breaking down 8 brutal truths Machiavelli understood about goodness, truths that will rewire how you give, help, and protect your energy. By the end, you'll see why your goodness has been your greatest vulnerability, and exactly how to transform it into strategic power. Ready? Let's destroy some comfortable illusions. Before we go deeper, drop a comment answering this. What's one time you helped someone repeatedly, and the moment you couldn't help, they acted like you betrayed them? Let's expose the pattern together. And if you're ready to stop being everyone's emotional support animal and start being selectively dangerous type, I choose strategic power. Number 1, predictable kindness is a target on your back. Here's the trap most good people fall into. They think consistency builds trust, that if you're reliably kind, helpful, available, people will value you more. Wrong. What it actually does is make you background noise. When someone knows you'll always say yes, your yes becomes worthless. When they know you won't fight back, they stop respecting your boundaries. When they know you'll forgive anything, they stop caring if they hurt you. You become the friend who always covers the bill, the coworker who stays late while everyone else leaves on time, the family member who swallows their needs so nobody else feels uncomfortable. The mechanism, hedonic adaptation. There's a psychological principle called hedonic adaptation. Humans get used to good things fast. What feels like a gift the first time becomes expectation by the 10th time. Your repeated kindness doesn't build gratitude. It builds entitlement. Think about it. The first time you help your friend move, they're incredibly grateful. The 3rd time, they barely say thank you. The 5th time, they just assume you'll show up. And if you can't make it the 6th time, suddenly you're the problem. This isn't because people are evil. It's because you trained them to expect it. The workplace doormat. You're the person who always covers shifts, always takes on extra projects, always says no problem when someone dumps work on you at 4:45 p.m. on Friday. Management notices, but not in the way you hoped. They don't promote you. They exploit you, because why promote someone who already does more than their job without needing a raise? Meanwhile, your coworker who sets firm boundaries, leaves exactly at 5,000 and only helps strategically, they get promoted. Because scarcity creates perceived value. The safety paradox. Your brain thinks being helpful makes you safe. If everyone likes you, nobody will hurt you, right? But here's the dark truth. Being universally liked actually makes you unsafe. Because when you never push back, never set limits, never show teeth, you become the person predatory personalities target first. They know you won't fight. They know you'll absorb the damage. They know you'll even apologize for bleeding on their knife. How to recognize it. You feel this as constant exhaustion after social interactions, as resentment building toward people you help, as the nagging feeling that everyone takes more than they give. The phrase you hear most, "You're so nice," not "You're so strong," not "You're so valuable," nice. The word people use when they can't think of anything substantial to respect about you. How to defend yourself. Stop being consistently kind. Start being strategically kind. This doesn't mean become cruel. It means become selective. Help people who reciprocate. Give to those who understand the value of what you're giving. Say no to those who treat your yes like it's guaranteed. Create unpredictability. Sometimes say yes enthusiastically. Sometimes say no without explanation. Sometimes help in big ways. Sometimes be mysteriously unavailable. When people can't predict you, they start paying attention. For the next 14 days, identify 3 people who take your help for granted. The next time they ask for something, say no, not rudely, just calmly. "I can't help with that." Watch their reaction closely. The ones who respect it and stay friendly, keep them. The ones who get angry or guilt trip you. You just learned who was using you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My yes is valuable because my no is real. Number 2, unlimited giving creates unlimited taking. Let's talk about something that sounds backwards but is absolutely true. The more you give to certain people, the less they appreciate it and the more they resent you. Sounds insane, right? But watch this pattern play out everywhere. The brutal truth. You give and give. Time, money, emotional energy, favors, support. You do it because you're a good person. You do it because you think generosity builds connection. But here's what actually happens over time. Your generosity breeds dependency first, then entitlement, then, weirdly, resentment. Because when someone becomes dependent on your giving, they start to feel inferior. They know they can't reciprocate at your level. That knowledge doesn't make them grateful. It makes them uncomfortable. And humans deal with discomfort by either stepping up or tearing you down. Guess which one happens more often? Reciprocity imbalance. Robert Cialdini's research on reciprocity shows that humans feel compelled to return favors, but only up to a point. When the imbalance becomes too large, when one person gives so much the other can never repay, the psychological discomfort becomes too much. Instead of feeling grateful, they start rewriting the narrative. They only help because they're showing off. They probably have ulterior motives. They're too nice. Something's wrong with them. They have to diminish your giving to protect their ego. The friend group ATM. You always pick up the tab at dinner, always drive everyone home, always host the parties, always bring the best gifts. At first, your friends loved it. But 6 months in, something shifted. They stopped offering to pay. They started expecting you to host. They began making jokes about how rich you must be, or how you love to show off. You're confused because you're being generous, but they're treating you worse than before you started giving. That's the trap. Your exceptional generosity became their baseline normal. And now every time you give at your usual level, it registers as 0 to them. But if you give less even once, that registers as you being selfish. You can't win. Why it works, the parent-child dynamic. When you give without limits, you accidentally create a parent-child dynamic. You become the provider. They become the dependent. And dependents, whether actual children or grown adults in this pattern, eventually resent the person they depend on. It's a fundamental power imbalance. And power imbalances corrode respect over time. How to recognize it? Listen for these phrases. You don't have to do that. Said in a way that means they expect you to do it. You're too generous, said with slight annoyance, not appreciation. Must be nice, said with resentment, when you mention anything good in your life. Notice the emotional pattern. You feel drained after helping them. You feel unappreciated. You feel like a bank, not a friend. How to use this wisely. Machiavelli wrote, "Benefits should be given little by little, so that they may be better enjoyed." Give strategically, not constantly. Help in meaningful moments, not mundane ones. Create space between your acts of generosity, so each one registers as special, not expected. And here's the key. Give in ways that empower, not enable. Teach someone to fish instead of handing them fish every day. Help them solve their problem instead of solving it for them. This protects both of you. You from being exploited, them from becoming dependent. For the next 2 weeks, cut your helping by 60%. If you usually help 5 times, help twice. If you usually say yes to every request, say yes to 1 in 3. Watch what happens. Some people will disappear. Good, they were using you. Others will adjust and respect you more. Those are your real people. Drop this affirmation, I give to empower, not to enable. Number 3, people judge your image, not your intentions. This is going to upset a lot of people, but it needs to be said, the world doesn't reward actual goodness. It rewards the appearance of goodness at the right moments. The harsh reality. You could be the kindest, most generous, most honest person in your entire workplace, friend group, or family. But if you don't know how to display those qualities strategically, if you don't control the narrative around your actions, you'll lose to someone who's half as good but twice as visible. That's not fair. But fairness is a World 1 concept. In World 2, perception is the game. Spotlight effect and narrative control. There's a cognitive bias called the spotlight effect. People vastly overestimate how much others notice their actions. You think people see all your daily kindnesses, all your small sacrifices, all your quiet consistency. They don't. What they see is what's dramatic, visible, and narratively simple. One person making a big show of helping during a crisis gets more credit than you helping consistently for months. Why? Because humans are terrible historians. We remember stories, not statistical patterns. We remember the one time Sarah stayed late to help, not the 50 times you did it quietly. Corporate theater. There's an employee who shows up early, stays late, helps everyone, never causes drama, does excellent work, never asks for credit. Then there's the employee who does decent work, but always makes sure management sees them helping. Always sends update emails copying the boss. Always volunteers for high visibility projects. Who gets promoted? The second one. Every single time. Not because they're better, because they understand that advancement isn't about competence. It's about perceived competence. And perceived competence requires visibility and narrative control. Why it works, the recognition game. Your brain thinks, if I just keep doing good work, people will notice and reward me. But most people's brains are operating on autopilot. They're not carefully tracking who deserves credit. They're remembering who made an impression. This is why quiet competence rarely gets rewarded, and why loud mediocrity often does. How to recognize. When you're losing this game, you feel invisible despite doing everything right. Other people take credit for your ideas. When something goes wrong, somehow you're associated with it. But when things go right, others get the recognition. You're doing the reality work without doing the perception work. How to master this. Start controlling your image deliberately. This doesn't mean lying, it means strategic visibility. Document your wins. Let people know when you've helped. Frame your contributions in language that makes them memorable. Don't just do good work. Make sure the right people know you did good work. Show your virtues publicly when it matters. Make your boundaries visible. Demonstrate strength where people will see it, and show mercy in moments that build your reputation. And critically, define yourself before others define you. Tell your own story before someone else tells it for you. For the next 7 days, practice strategic visibility. After each meaningful contribution at work or in your relationships, make sure at least one influential person knows about it. Not in a bragging way, in a clear, factual update. Hey, just wanted to let you know I finished X ahead of schedule. That problem you mentioned, I handled it. Keep it short, keep it factual, keep it visible. Drop this affirmation. I control my narrative. If these truths are completely changing how you see relationships and power dynamics, hit that like button right now. Because what's coming next is where we shift from defense to offense, from protecting yourself to actually building the kind of influence that makes people respect your boundaries without you having to fight for them. Number 4, availability is currency. Spend it wisely. Most good people treat their time like it's infinite. They'll give an hour here, 3 hours there, entire weekends to other people's problems, all while their own dreams sit untouched. Then they wonder why they're exhausted and behind on everything that matters to them. The economics of attention. Every hour you spend helping someone else is an hour you don't spend building yourself. That's not motivational fluff. That's mathematics. You have roughly 6,000 waking hours per year. If you spend 30% of that on other people's priorities, you just donated 1,800 hours, almost a full work year, to everyone else's life while yours stays exactly the same. Compound that over a decade, and you start to understand why generous people often end up resentful and stuck. The sunk cost fallacy of relationships. There's a cognitive trap where the more you've invested in someone, the harder it is to stop investing, even when they're clearly not reciprocating. You think, but I've already given so much, I can't stop now. That's exactly how people exploit you. They know that once you've invested time and energy, you'll keep investing to justify the investment you already made. The side hustle that never starts. You want to start that podcast, write that book, build that business. You know exactly what you need to do. But every time you block out time to work on it, someone needs something. Your friend needs to vent for 2 hours. Your family member needs help moving. Your coworker needs you to cover their shift. Your group chat is blowing up with drama that requires your input. 6 months pass. Your dream is still just a dream, but hey, at least everyone else's problems got solved. Except they didn't, because most of the problems you helped with, they'll have them again next month. Meanwhile, the 6 months you could have spent building something permanent is gone forever. The airplane oxygen mask principle. Flight attendants tell you, secure your own oxygen mask before helping others. Why? Because if you pass out trying to help someone else first, now 2 people need rescuing instead of 1. Life operates on the same principle. If you deplete yourself helping others, you eventually become someone who needs help. Now you're a burden instead of an asset. The most helpful people in the world aren't the ones who say yes to everyone. They're the ones who built themselves into someone capable of helping meaningfully, because they protected their time, energy, and resources first. How to recognize time vampires. They always have an emergency, but the emergency is never important enough for them to solve themselves. They ask quick questions that turn into hour-long conversations. They cancel on you, but expect you to be available when they need something. They never say thank you, just, I need help with one more thing. And critically, they never help you back. Or when they do, it's minimal and comes with complaints. How to protect your time. Start treating your time like a limited resource, because it is. Create a priority hierarchy. Know what matters more than helping others. When someone asks for your time, run it through this filter. Does this align with my core values and goals? Is this person someone who reciprocates? Can I do this without depleting myself? If any answer is no, you say, I can't help with that right now. No elaborate explanations, no apologizing, no justifying, just a calm, clear boundary. And here's the power move. Offer an alternative that costs you less. I can't meet for coffee, but I can send you a resource. They'll either appreciate the effort or reveal they only wanted your time, not your help. For the next 14 days, audit where your time goes. Track every request for your time and rate each one. High reciprocity, medium reciprocity, or zero reciprocity. After 2 weeks, cut contact by 80% with the zero reciprocity people. Redirect that time to your own goals. Watch your life change. Drop this affirmation. My time is my life. I invest it strategically. Number 5. Today's favor is tomorrow's expectation. This might be the most painful truth in this video. The people you help the most will remember your help the least. Let me say that again because it sounds impossible. The people you help the most will remember your help the least. Here's how it works in real life. First favor, oh my God, thank you so much. I owe you one. Third favor, thanks, I appreciate it. Seventh favor, thanks. 10th favor, silence. 11th favor, where you can't help. Wow, I can't believe you're saying no to me after everything. Everything? What about the 10 times you said yes? They don't remember those, because those became the baseline. Those became expected. The one no stands out like a neon sign while the 10 yeses fade into background noise. The peak end rule. Daniel Kahneman's research shows humans don't remember experiences accurately. They remember peaks, high moments, and endings. The middle gets compressed and forgotten. So your consistent help over 6 months, that's the middle. It compresses into, oh yeah, they're helpful. But the one time you said no, that's the end. That's what they remember, vividly. Your reliability makes you forgettable. Your boundaries make you memorable. The family doormat. You're the sibling who always shows up, always helps mom with errands, always hosts Thanksgiving, always lends money, always mediates arguments. Your other siblings do the bare minimum. Show up late to holidays, barely call your parents, contribute nothing. But at a family gathering, when you mention you can't host Christmas this year because you have other plans, guess who gets labeled selfish? You. While your do-nothing siblings nod along like you're betraying the family. Why? Because you trained everyone to expect everything from you. Your exceptionalism became their baseline. Your siblings' bare minimum became accepted as, well, that's just how they are. You raised the bar for yourself so high that anything less feels like failure. They set the bar so low that anything more feels heroic. Why it works, contrast effect, and adaptation. Psychologically, we judge things by contrast, not absolutes. When you're consistently helpful, people don't think, wow, they helped me again. They think, this is normal. But when you're usually unavailable and you help once, people think, wow, they went out of their way. Same amount of help. Different perceived value. The difference is scarcity. How to recognize gratitude decay. You feel taken for granted. People stop saying thank you. They start phrasing requests as expectations. You're coming Saturday, right? Instead of, would you be able to come Saturday? They get annoyed when you're not available, like you broke a contract you never signed. And the most telling sign, they talk about how much others have done for them while never mentioning what you've done. How to reverse this? Introduce scarcity deliberately. Say no more often, not to be petty, but to remind people that your yes is a choice, not a given. Help in big, memorable moments instead of constant small ones. One dramatic assist matters more than 50 quiet favors. And critically, when you do help, make it visible. Not in a bragging way, but don't let your contribution fade into the background. State clearly what you did and why you did it. For the next month, help each person in your life exactly once, no matter how many times they ask. The first request? Sure, happy to help. Second request in the same month? I can't right now. Watch who respects that boundary and stays friendly versus who gets demanding or manipulative. You just mapped out who values you versus who exploits you. Drop this affirmation. I create value through scarcity. Number 6. Good intentions without power are just pretty thoughts. The world doesn't care about your intentions. It cares about outcomes. You can have the kindest heart, the purest motives, the most noble goals. But if you don't have the strength to execute, none of it matters. The brutal truth about powerless goodness. Being good without being strong makes you a victim with moral superiority. You feel righteous while getting destroyed. You pride yourself on being nice while people walk all over you. You hold on to your values while others who don't share them take everything you built. That's not virtue. That's naivety dressed up as nobility. The mechanism, the dark side of agreeableness. Psychological research shows that high agreeableness correlates with lower lifetime earnings, less career advancement, and more exploitation in relationships. Why? Because agreeable people avoid conflict, even necessary conflict. They choose temporary peace over long-term respect. They sacrifice their needs to avoid uncomfortable conversations. They think being the bigger person means absorbing damage without fighting back. But here's what they don't understand. Being the bigger person only works when the other person recognizes you're being the bigger person. Predatory personalities don't see your restraint as strength. They see it as weakness to exploit. The nice guy or girl who finishes last. You're in a relationship or friendship where you always compromise. Always apologize first, even when you weren't wrong. Always give them the benefit of the doubt. Always try to understand their perspective. They never do the same for you. They take your emotional labor for granted. They cross boundaries you've stated clearly. They prioritize everyone else while expecting you to prioritize them. You stay because you're working on the relationship. You're being patient. You're being understanding. No, you're being a doormat. And calling yourself virtuous while it happens doesn't change the fact that you're teaching them that disrespecting you has no consequences. Why it works, the respect paradox. People respect strength more than kindness. That's not an opinion, it's observable reality. The person who sets firm boundaries and enforces them gets treated better than the person who's endlessly accommodating. This doesn't mean be cruel, it means demonstrate that crossing you has costs. Show teeth occasionally so people remember you have them. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." What he really meant, respect matters more than affection, because respect protects you. Affection without respect leaves you vulnerable. How to recognize powerless virtue. You're constantly being understanding while feeling resentful. You avoid confrontation even when someone clearly wronged you. You pride yourself on taking the high road, but secretly feel like you're being walked over. You tell yourself, I'm just being the bigger person while everyone else gets what they want and you don't. How to build powerful goodness. First, develop the capacity to be dangerous. Learn to argue. Learn to stand your ground. Learn to walk away. Learn to make people face consequences. Then choose when to deploy that capacity. Most of the time, be kind, generous, understanding. But when someone crosses a line, show them exactly why that was a mistake. This is strategic goodness, kind by default, dangerous when necessary. Be like water, soft and adaptable most of the time, but also capable of wearing down mountains and drowning kingdoms when needed. For the next 21 days, practice confrontation in small ways. Correct someone when they misstate something you said. Push back when someone makes an unreasonable request. State a preference clearly instead of saying whatever you want. Set one firm boundary and enforce it immediately when tested. Watch how differently people treat you when they realize you're not a pushover. Drop this affirmation: I am kind with power, not powerless with kindness. Number 7. The world judges results, not intentions. This is where most good people completely lose the game. They confuse trying hard with being effective. They think that because they meant well and worked hard, they deserve credit and respect. The world doesn't work that way. The harsh reality. Nobody cares how hard you tried if you failed. Nobody cares about your good intentions if the outcome sucked. Nobody cares about your sacrifice if nothing improved. History remembers results. People remember outcomes. Your reputation gets built on what you accomplished, not what you attempted. The mechanism: attribution theory and success bias. There's a cognitive bias called the fundamental attribution error. When we succeed, we attribute it to our character and effort. When we fail, we attribute it to circumstances beyond our control. But when judging others, we do the opposite. Their success is luck or circumstances. Their failure is their character flaw. This means your hard work and good intentions don't protect you from judgment when you fail. People will just assume you weren't competent enough. The overworked underperformer. You're working 60-hour weeks, sacrificing weekends, missing social events, barely sleeping. You're exhausted and stressed, but you're trying so hard. Results: mediocre. Projects delivered late, quality inconsistent, goals missed. Your manager doesn't care that you tried. Your performance review still sucks. Meanwhile, your coworker who works 40 hours efficiently and hits every target gets the promotion. Effort without effectiveness is just exhausting yourself for nothing. Why it works: the efficiency hierarchy. In any competitive environment, business, dating, friendship, family dynamics, results beat effort. Always. The person who solves problems beats the person who tries hard. The person who creates value beats the person who's busy. The person who delivers beats the person who means well. Trying hard might make you feel virtuous, but delivering results makes you valuable. And valuable people get treated better than virtuous people. How to recognize effort. Worship. You measure your worth by how busy you are instead of what you've achieved. You tell yourself, "At least I tried," when something fails. You expect credit for working hard even when the outcome was bad. You're exhausted but have little to show for it. You're busy but not progressing. How to shift to outcome. Thinking. Stop measuring inputs, hours worked, effort expended, intentions. Start measuring outputs, problems solved, value created, goals achieved. Ask yourself daily, what did I actually accomplish today? Not how hard did I work? Actual, tangible results. Be ruthless about effectiveness. If something isn't working, stop doing it. Even if you're good at it, even if you've invested time in it, results matter more than consistency. And critically, underpromise and overdeliver. Most good people do the opposite. They promise big because they mean well, then fail to deliver and look incompetent. Promise conservatively, deliver impressively. Let results speak louder than intentions. For the next 30 days, track your week by outcomes, not effort. Sunday, set 3 specific, measurable goals for the week. Daily, at end of day, write what you actually accomplished, not what you attempted. Friday, review. Did you hit your 3 goals? If not, why not? Stop celebrating "I tried" and start celebrating "I did." Drop this affirmation: I am defined by my results, not my effort. Number 8. You can't change the world if you let the world destroy you first. This is the final truth, and it's the one that brings everything together. All your goodness, all your values, all your potential to make a positive difference. None of it matters if you don't survive long enough to use it. The ultimate strategic mindset. Most good people think like this: I should sacrifice myself to help others. They drain themselves, burn out, let people exploit them all in service of being good. But here's what they don't understand. A burned out good person helps nobody. A destroyed, generous person has nothing left to give. A dead hero saves no one else. You have to survive first, build strength first, establish boundaries first. Then, and only then, can you actually create lasting positive impact. The mechanism, the sustainability paradox. Psychological research on burnout shows that people in helping professions, nurses, teachers, social workers who don't set boundaries burn out in 2 to 5 years and leave the field entirely. The ones who last decades? They're the ones who protect their energy, say no strategically, and take care of themselves first. Counterintuitively, the most selfish-seeming behavior, protecting yourself, enables the most generous long-term impact, sustained helping over decades. The activist who burns out. You care deeply about social justice, environmental issues, political change. You throw yourself into activism completely. Every protest, every petition, every campaign. You're exhausted within 2 years, burned out, cynical. You stop caring because caring hurt too much. Meanwhile, the person who paced themselves, set boundaries, picked their battles strategically, they're still in the fight 10 years later, making real impact because they didn't destroy themselves in year 1. Sustainability beats intensity, always. Why it works: the marathon principle. Life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. The person who sprints the first mile and collapses doesn't win. The person who paces themselves, conserves energy, and finishes strong wins. Your goodness needs to be sustainable. Your generosity needs to be strategic. Your help needs boundaries. Because the greatest impact doesn't come from one heroic, self-sacrificing moment. It comes from decades of steady, strategic, sustained effort. How to recognize unsustainable goodness. You're exhausted constantly. You resent the people you're helping. You fantasize about disappearing. You feel guilty when you prioritize yourself. These are warning signs that your goodness is killing you. How to build sustainable impact. Protect yourself first, not selfishly, strategically. Build your strength, resources, and stability so you can help from abundance, not depletion. Think like an investor. Where can your help create the most ROI? Who reciprocates? What causes actually matter to you versus what you feel guilty about not caring about? Create boundaries that preserve your capacity to help. Say no to small drains so you can say yes to big opportunities. Cut off energy vampires so you can empower people who'll actually use your help to improve. And remember, the goal isn't to be remembered as nice. It's to be remembered as someone who actually changed things. Answer these 3 questions in writing. If I keep giving at my current rate, will I still be capable of helping anyone in 5 years? What would I need to protect about myself to sustain my impact over decades? Who am I helping out of genuine desire versus guilt, obligation, or fear? Then restructure your life accordingly. Cut the guilt-based helping. Protect the resources you need. Build sustainability into your generosity. Drop this affirmation. I protect myself so I can protect others. Now let's turn everything we've covered into a concrete action plan you can implement immediately. 5-step strategic goodness system. Step 1, morning identity anchor. 5 minutes. Before you check your phone or talk to anyone, sit with this truth. Today, my time and energy belong to me first. I choose who receives them. Breathe deeply 3 times. Visualize yourself saying no calmly to 3 different people. Feel that power in your body. This sets your nervous system to protect mode instead of people-pleasing mode. Step 2, the 3 question filter. Every request someone asks for your time, energy, or help. Before responding, run it through. Does this align with my values and goals? Will this person reciprocate or exploit? Can I give this without depleting myself? If any answer is no, your response is, I can't do that. No explanation, no apology, just a calm, clear boundary. Step 3, weekly relationship audit, Sunday, 30 minutes. Journal on these questions. Who drained me this week? Who reciprocated? Where did I give too much? Where did I successfully protect my boundaries? What's one relationship where I need to create more distance? Adjust your availability accordingly. Step 4, the strategic scarcity experiment, 30 days. For 1 month, cut your availability and helping by 50%. If you usually respond immediately, wait 3 to 6 hours. If you usually say yes to 5 requests, say yes to 2. Document who respects your new boundaries versus who gets demanding. This reveals who values you versus who uses you. Step 5, outcome-based monthly review, last day of month. Don't ask, was I good this month? Ask, what did I actually accomplish this month? List tangible results, goals hit, projects completed, value created. If the list is short because you spent all your time helping others, you just learned you're sacrificing your life for other people's priorities. Adjust next month accordingly. Let's zoom out and understand what we've really been talking about. These aren't just strategies for dealing with difficult people. These are recurring patterns in human nature that stretch back thousands of years. Machiavelli saw them in Renaissance Italy. Marcus Aurelius saw them in ancient Rome. You're seeing them in your workplace, your relationships, your family. The pattern doesn't change, only the setting does. Here's the deeper truth. The world doesn't reward goodness, it rewards effectiveness. Being good feels nice. Being effective changes your life. But here's the tightrope you have to walk. You can use these tools to protect yourself and build a meaningful life, or you can use them to become exactly the kind of predator you're learning to defend against. The difference is this. Strategic goodness is about becoming powerful enough to choose kindness from strength, not give it away from weakness. It's about being selectively dangerous so you can be safely generous with the right people. It's about mastering human nature so you can build the life you actually want, not the life that gets handed to you by people who exploit your inability to say no. Machiavelli wasn't teaching people to be evil. He was teaching them to survive in a world where evil exists. There's a difference. If this video completely rewired how you see relationships, power, and self-protection, subscribe right now for weekly deep dives into psychology, strategy, and self-mastery. And comment below, which of these 8 principles hit you hardest? And what's the one change you're making starting tomorrow? Machiavelli gave you the map 500 years ago. Your character decides the destination today. The question was never whether you'd learn to play the game. The question is what kind of player you'll become. Because once you've seen how generosity gets exploited, how kindness gets mistaken for weakness, how good people finish last when they don't learn strategy, there's no unseeing it. You can't go back to being naively good. You can only go forward to being strategically powerful. The world is full of sheep and wolves. Don't be either. Be the shepherd.